Tried all the rest? Learn from the best. Join WDGLC.com today.
Hey there everybody, it's Wayne D again, and we're here at my website, WayneDefrancesco.com. Hope you're a member, and if you're not, got some nice stuff, consider joining. So, right here we've got last week's winner, or the week before maybe, by now, Brandt Snedeker. This is a really good swing. This would be a good one to focus on and copy a little bit of, because he does a lot of nice things. Not exactly all of the preferences that I have, but does it his own way, but really good stuff. So let's take a peek. Now the first thing I wanted to show you here, which is a little bit of a debate in the teaching business, and the debate is, where do you put the camera for the best view, or the best way to film from down the line? So you have two schools of thought. Well, one of them's mine, so that would be one. So my idea is that if you put the camera behind the hands, which is in this case just in front of the toe line maybe, so camera here, and you situate it at, between shoulder and the waist high. That's what I like to do, and I'll show you why in a second. There's another idea that says, oh no, we want to put it out on the target line so we can see the ball flight. So if the ball's going this way, then the camera obviously is going to be back here somewhere, which you can see with a driver. That's a big difference. It's at least 2.5 feet. So let's take a look, and I'll show you why I like the way I do it, and it allows me to draw my lines so we can see what's going on. So let's take a look. Here's the camera out on the target line, and if you were teaching this guy, you might look at this and go, your club is going a little bit under the plane, even though somehow it looks nice here, like it's parallel to the foot line. It definitely went under that shaft plane drawn there. Now watch what happens when we come forward. So the hands are going to meet the shaft plane just about perfect, but where the club is, right? So you might get a prescription to cure an in to out swing here. Alright, now let's look at this iron shot where the camera is positioned behind the hands. So the first thing you can see is that the shaft and the club head, they're coming up the plane line. Now, he's a great player. His swings are going to be consistent. So that pretty much means that that driver swing didn't go under the plane.
Did a quick fix make your swing worse? Wayne Defrancesco will get your swing back on track at WDGLC.com.
I mean, it's possible, but it didn't look like it was under the plane when it got to here. That looks perfect to me, but also to me the camera angle's not correct. Now let's take a look from the top. Let's see it come down. Now once again, look at the way I know the shaft's a little blurred because of the TV camera, but notice how the shaft is right on top of that shaft plane, whereas this one, when it comes through, it appears to be swinging out to the right. Well, this camera angle is not good if you are looking to see how the club is arcing past the ball. So if you're going to film your swing, please, especially if you're going to send it, I mean, you can do whatever you want, but if you're going to send it to me and have it analyzed, or if you want to analyze it yourself, put the camera behind the hands like that so that you can see whether or not you're tracking it on the shaft plane. And you can see why Snedeker is such a good ball striker. I think he hit every green when he caught Kyle Stanley, even though Stanley should have won. But Stanley was kind of hitting it all over the place and getting it up and down, and then, you know, had the train wreck on 18, which really wasn't his fault, but that's just the way it turned out. Of course, Stanley won the next week, which is pretty cool. So that's my little lecture on camera angles. Put it behind the hands. It's stupid to put it behind the ball. Doesn't show you anything. Who cares where the ball goes? We're looking at swings. All right. So let's take a closer look at this swing, because I think it's really good. One of my favorites on the tour. So a couple of very interesting things here. We already saw that the takeaway is pretty money. He's got the club pointed right up at his belt line, which is something that I would always teach. I like the posture. I'll show you a shot. He's got an incredibly quick routine. He really just gets up and hits the thing, which I think would be good if you could do it. I can't do that, but I think it's pretty cool if you can. So one thing you'll see, and I've gone through this before as far as when players lower, Snedeker does all of his lowering in the backswing. And then he's going to retain and come up as he hits it. So that's just one way to do it. Now, you can also see he's got pretty good balance there at address, I mean, obviously. But as he gets to the top, watch his head poke out in front of that forehead line there as it goes back to the top. Now, the progressions and the plane is pretty much mint here, so if I draw it like my usual lines here, so we went from 58 to 66, so shaft's pretty much right dead on the plane. So we got 8 up there, and now we've got 3 more. So very standard, I would say, to have an 8 and 3 or 8, 4, 7, and, you know, right in that range of a progression. So you'll notice that the right knee is closer to the box line than the left, and the forehead was peeking out a little bit. But watch what he does here, which is very cool. He will pull his hips, both, his whole pelvis will go backwards as he moves his left leg back. So when it appears that he might shove himself out of the box, look how he just gets right back in it. His hands, on the other hand, are going right down the high line toward the ball, which is exactly what I love. The shaft shallows, not kicky like some guys. It doesn't do a major shallow, but it does shallow some. So if I draw that down, you can see it's a little bit outside the ball. So a little flat. Now look at that nice position there. He's got the knees in the box, he's got the butt in the box, his head's down there. And then as he comes down, look at how that right forearm tracks the plane. And now he's mint. I mean, that's really good. Love that. There's the exit under the shoulder. He's got that left forearm rotation I love right here. And as he goes through it, he's got a little give, and the right leg kind of goes out just a hair, rolls the foot. But so he's not dead in the box when he's done, but he's in the box when it counts, which is in there. So let's watch that a couple times. Regular speed. So he's the guy that most reminds me of Tom Watson when it comes to the back and forth of his swing. He's maybe a little more frenetic than Watson is, but certainly 1-2, boom, boom, and he's hitting the thing. So everything is pretty money here. You can see the left wrist just barely cupped, club face nice and square, good angles here, and there's that pullback. Now, you know, that's pretty unique. You don't see that obvious save right there. Alright, so one thing that he does a little different than I would teach is that in the start of the backswing, his right arm really is pretty straight, so it doesn't flare quite as much, but he's got real nice rotation in the hands, and he's got plenty of lift in the wrist, so the club doesn't get under him. Comes right up the plane really nicely. So let's take a look. Go back to that driver swing I was showing you. So watch the right arm. So you see the elbow right here. You don't see a whole lot of flare in that arm. So when he gets it to here, so this is a position that would be quite unlike a Hogan, who at this point would be much more like that, much more bend in that right arm. But it's interesting that as it gets here, where it looks a little bit pinched, he'll just let it go very nicely there. So a lot more late arm movement. But look how nicely planed that thing is. I mean, you don't see too many guys. I mean, Charles Schwartzel gets it up there kind of like that. But now, watch that belt buckle. Whoop, right backwards. Now, it doesn't get a whole lot better than that. And the right arm really does nicely get in front of him. Now, another thing that's kind of interesting, a lot of guys are looking at trying to hold off the right wrist forever in the forward swing, but when I watch Hogan and I watch swings like this, the thing that I'm thinking of is if you're going to throw a ball, you're not going to keep your right wrist bent forever. You're going to throw the ball. You got to release it. So you'll see most driver swings, since you're trying to throw the ball flat or a little up and not down, you're going to see the hands still appear in sight here and not disappear completely around to the left. And then when you get up in this area, oops, they don't even finish, of course not. It'd be too much to ask CBS to finish the swing. So let's go back to the iron shot. So when you look at that left forearm go this way, try that sometime in the mirror and see what you have to do that. You got to release that left side all the way around, and that means you're not holding the shaft out in front of you. You're letting it move over this way. That's more of a throwing motion than if the shaft were over here right now. So I really like that in the swing. It's very free through the ball. So there you go. Brandt Snedeker, one of my favorite swings. One of these days, he's going to really show up in a major and do well.